You feel it, don't you? That old, familiar pull. The voice in the back of your head is getting louder, whispering that it's not a big deal, that just this once will be okay. It's a creeping urge, and your old habits are calling your name, promising a quick escape. You're standing there on the edge of a decision, but before you make a choice you might regret, just stop for 1 second. You need to ask yourself one single thing. This one question can be the difference between the impulse you feel right now and the future you've been fighting so hard to build. That intense urge you're feeling, it's not just in your head, it's biological. It's your brain's reward system, which got hijacked by a past habit, screaming for a shortcut to feel better. But you are more than just your biology. You have a tool that can interrupt this whole process. You have the power to hit pause right here and now and challenge that voice. The craving that feels like an emergency, but it isn't. It's a temporary signal. And instead of just obeying it, we're going to question it. Right now, your brain is probably playing you the highlight reel. It's glorifying the first 5 minutes of a relapse. That initial rush, that feeling of escape, that brief moment where all the stress just seems to melt away. Your brain is telling you that's what you're missing. It's a powerful story built on the memory of past highs, but it conveniently ignores the full picture. Recovery from addiction is a journey, and that journey isn't always a straight line. The temptation to relapse is a common part of it, but your brain is conveniently forgetting the rest of the story. It's cutting the movie short right after the best scene. It doesn't want you to remember what comes after those first 5 minutes. It's not showing you the shame, the guilt, or the regret that so often comes crashing down. The anxiety that follows, the brain fog, it's hiding all the reasons you wanted to quit in the first place. And it definitely doesn't want you to remember the feeling of having to start all over again. So, in this critical moment, when the urge is screaming at you, I want you to just take a deep breath. Ask yourself one simple question. Be honest with yourself and don't rush the answer. The question is, what happens next if I say yes? Not just in the next 5 minutes. What happens later today? What happens when you wake up tomorrow morning? What does the choice mean for the person you are working so hard to become? This question isn't magical, but it's powerful. It works because it forces a pause. It interrupts the automatic compulsive part of your brain and encourages the thoughtful, forward thinking part, your prefrontal cortex. This strategy is inspired by a principle used in CBT, which is all about learning to recognize and change destructive thought patterns. By asking this question, you're stepping out of the emotional storm and becoming an observer of your own thoughts. Let's play the tape through together, which is a cognitive strategy used in recovery to see the likely consequences of an action. So, you say yes to the urge. For a few minutes, you get the relief you were craving. And then what? The high fades, and for many people, the initial buzz is replaced by a wave of regret. You broke a promise to yourself. That feeling of failure starts to creep in. Soon after, the old consequences can return. The lethargy, the lack of motivation, the anxiety. The reasons you quit come flooding back, but now they might be joined by the fresh pain of resetting your progress. You have to face the next day knowing you have to start climbing that mountain all over again. When you ask, what happens next? The honest answer is rarely just 5 minutes of relief. More often, the full story includes hours of regret and days of getting back on track and rebuilding the trust you had in yourself. You aren't just giving into one urge, you're trading a fleeting moment of escape for a much longer period of difficulty. If you find yourself in this battle often, please know you don't have to fight it alone. Having a plan and people to support you is essential. Down below, I've linked some resources, including a worksheet that can help you identify your personal triggers, which is a key step in building a solid relapse prevention plan. That urge you feel is powerful, but it is not more powerful than you are. It's a temporary signal from a brain that is still healing. It does not have to define your reality. The next time that voice starts whispering, don't argue with it. Don't try to fight it. Just pause, take a breath, and ask the question, what happens next? Force yourself to look beyond the short term fantasy and see the full picture. Remember the person you are fighting to become. Remember why you started this journey in the first place. The choice between a temporary impulse and your future self is made in this single moment of awareness. You have the power to make the right one. You are worth the fight. Keep going.